this point, comic books are just a few steps away from being a fashion magazine with all the incredible looks villains are pulling out. I cannot thank the person that commented Clock King on part 1 enough because I now have the absolute pleasure of knowing this guy exists. He is fabulous and deserves attention. His real name is William Talkman. His costume's mask is a working clock. He has this amazing red cape that is lined with fur and a blue 19th century king's jacket, and even has a velvet crown on top of his clock head. His hideout is a clock tower, and the first crime he commits in Batman Brave and the Bold is robbing the Museum of Clocks. Not robbing a museum of their clocks, robbing a museum dedicated to clocks. That's amazing. He gets to the robbery on his clock helicopter and doesn't have powers, just clock-themed gadgets to mess around with. Clock King has been around for a while. In the 1966 Batman show, he trapped Batman and Robin in an hourglass so they would drown in the sand while he steals Bruce Wayne's collection of antique pocket watches. Later on in the episode, we see him with a very fancy top hat on his head with a little clock inside. In 1960, we see him for the very first time in World's Finest Comics, and he is pulling a look. He still has a clock on his face, but his suit is blue and has clocks all over it like polka dots, and he has a yellow cape, boots, gloves, and hood. The last time we saw Clock King was in 2023 in the animated show Harley Quinn. At this point, his head is a clock, and he's engaged to the Riddler. I need a Met Gala that is villain themed, and I don't mean everyone is wearing black and has a smoky eye. I want people dressing like Clock King and Crazy Quilt. Personally, I'm pulling up as Calendar Man with 16 costume reveals. Let me know what you're wearing down below. Time to move on to Clock King's brother. At least in the 1966 Batman show they're related. I'm referring to the Mad Hatter. He also has a very niche interest he is determined to steal. If you guessed hats, you're a winner. The one hat he wants most of all is Batman's cowl. That causes all the problems you'd expect. No matter what universe the Mad Hatter is in, he is usually wearing all green or all blue. Funny enough, the actor that portrays the Mad Hatter in the 60s show shares a last name with Bruce Wayne. Most variations of him lean into a lot of mismatched and fun prints, some with checkered pants, some with big bow ties with polka dots, and just lots of contrasting colors overall. The Mad Hatter is delusional but committed. Lots of his crimes are based and themed around the Alice in Wonderland book. He doesn't just like hats, he will also plant mind control devices in them too, so they prove to be as useful as they are stylish. At one point in Detective Comics 510, the Mad Hatter plots to take over Wall Street, the stock market, aim high my friend, and he just has a monkey. It's unclear where it came from. Lewis Carroll did create a famous monkey puzzle, so that may have been the inspiration. More recent versions of the Mad Hatter, like 2015's Batman Arkham Knight and the Gotham TV show, have made the Mad Hatter a bit edgier, wearing darker colors or all black, but I prefer the Monkey Man. Reinventing a character isn't just something the writers do, sometimes the characters make that choice all on their own. This is the case of Paste Pot Pete, later known as the Trapster. His OG name came from an invention of his, a multi-polymer adhesive, or simply put, it's just like really sticky glue and sticky paste. The paste was very popular and the guy made a lot of money, but he wanted more. Believing a life of crime would add more green to his pocket, he turned to the dark side. It technically did add a lot of green to his pocket. He wears a fabulous green jumpsuit with a white collar. The details of the fit are a matching purple nightcap and a big purple bow right on his neck. And then of course, his bucket of paste he carries around with his weapon of choice connected. It's something called a paste gun. It's basically an extreme glue gun. Now, he did make a bit of green in the money sense as well. He successfully robbed a bank and even stole a missile, but before he could sell that off, he was bested by the Human Torch. This causes a lifelong rivalry. Pete even runs into Spider-Man later on in Spider-Man Human Torch issue 1. Spider-Man gets a very good laugh out of Pete's name, much to Pete's annoyance. This is actually the reason Pete changed his name. It literally says on panel, "That's it, I'm changing my name." And he picked Trapster to sound more menacing. The later versions of his costume have upgraded him from having to carry around the massive paste bucket, and instead it flows through a chest piece. His Trapster version changed up his colors, now red and yellow with a backpack that contains the glue. Polka Dot Man is kind of similar to Spectro that we saw in part 1, but is more of a twister board because he has a white suit covered in multicolored dots. He has a red belt at the waist with a circle in the middle and a red mask over his eyes. The dots on his suit are very special. Each one can transform into a specific weapon or gadget when he removes it. So he tears off a dot, that's the equivalent of getting punched in the face. Another is a buzzsaw. His suit is electrically powered, but when he can't access the electricity, he resorts to using a baseball bat. His His crime planning method is pretty clever. One time he went on a crime spree around Gotham, and the points on the map turned out to be a big connect the dots picture of a stickman. I'm not the only person who loved this. It's implied that the citizens of Gotham were also big fans, and Polka Dot became a local celebrity, possibly even appearing on local talk shows. He's been featured in Batman the Brave and the Bold, the Lego Batman movie, and the Suicide Squad. The Ringmaster's main power is hypnosis, and he's good at it. I am hypnotized by his outfit. Here's the thing. All the components when they are separate look nice. It's just when they get put together that I am raising an eyebrow. He's got these nice purple pants and a matching tie, a green jacket with black stars all over it, a purple top hat with the circle swirly hypnosis thing in it, and green boots with black stars to match. His boots are nice. I would wear them. A statement boot like that is back in style. Ringmaster leads a criminal organization called the Circus of Crime. Shocking. The crime is he uses the hypnosis device on his hat to gain control of his audiences and then make them give him all their money. He's fought Spider-Man, Daredevil, and the Hulk. In a fight with Spider-Man and Daredevil, Spider-Man gets hypnotized and put under the Ringmaster's control. It is during this fight that we learn that the way to defeat the Ringmaster's mind control is to just knock his hat off, and from what I can tell in the photos, he doesn't have a chin strap or anything, so he seems pretty easy to stop if you really tried. If I were him, I would just add a chin strap. Up next is the musical mastermind that is Clarinetto. He is part of the parody series The Powerful Pachyderms. Clarinetto initially poses as a music teacher, but he reveals himself to be the former head of the Brotherhood of Evil Musicians. The former job reveal also comes with a costume reveal, of course. He dons a red and purple helmet with 2 music notes on top, a red band uniform, and matching purple boots and cape. The star of the show, though, is his clarinet, which has the power to control guitar strings when he plays it. Similar to Snake Charming, but weirder. Clarinetto was teaching a group of students. He wasn't really teaching them music, and more teaching them to be celebrity impersonator fighting squads. He and his impersonators are eventually defeated by the Elephant Squad through a powerful energy blast. This entire issue is so fun, it's so ridiculous, and not meant to be taken seriously, and if I could sit in on any writer's room, it would have been this one. The Doom Patrol comics have produced some interesting characters like Beard Hunter. The first version of Beard Hunter is just a regular guy, as regular as one can be when you're a highly trained hitman. Regular might not be the word for this guy, because he is jealous of anyone who can grow a beard and therefore wants to off them and steal their beard. His spoils from the hits are then worn around his waist. He also has a skull on his chest with a beard pinned to it like a brooch. It's a look. Beard Hunter can't grow his own beard, as he has a hormone deficiency. Because of the skull detail on his chest, many people think that Beard Hunter is a parody of the Punisher. His original suit from the 1991 comic is all red, and he has this army green backpack to hold his weapons. Beard Hunter is featured in the live-action Doom Patrol show, and this version is somehow even weirder. He has actual superpowers. He is able to find his victims, no matter where they are, by consuming a piece of their beard trimmings. My favorite fact I learned about him, in the final pages of his debut comic Doom Patrol 2 number 45, he gets electrocuted on tinfoil, and it's so bad that he nearly passes out. Nearly. What makes him actually pass out is when 3 heavenly visitors come to him and he remembers God has a beard. Batman inspires people. On today's list, he has inspired some truly wacky individuals. Signalman is just another great example. He started out as Phil Cobb, a little guy in terms of Gotham's massive crime scene. He was determined to become a big Batman-level problem, and he figured the best and easiest way to do so was to have an extremely specific gimmick. Judging from the likes of Batman villains on this list already, he's onto something. Signalman first debuted in 1957. This version of him has a yellow cape covered in green shapes and symbols. There are moons and swirls and even some stuff from the Workplace Hazardous Materials Information System. He wears striped shorts that are very similar to caution tape, and the rest of his suit is red. The whole signal idea came from the bat signal and how much of modern society is run by signals in general. There was also a brief period in 1961 where he viewed Signalman to be a failure, so he changed his name to Blue Bowman, inspired by the Green Arrow. That didn't work out either, and he was sent straight to jail and not seen until 1976 when he made a comeback in Detective Comics 466 back as Signalman. He is just a guy, he has no superpowers, but he does carry around a knockout gas gun, and his belt has tech that can change any signal he encounters. The Highwayman of the US 1 comic series is so interesting. The story may be about intergalactic truckers, but it's hard to ignore the fashion choice that is Demon Cowboy Trucker. To be clear though, I am obsessed. This villain used to be a regular guy, Jefferson Archer, brother to the hero of US1, Ulysses Archer. Jefferson was a trucker on Earth, but as he got older, he wasn't able to drive as long in between sleeping periods, so he was losing out on work to younger drivers. He didn't like this and tried a bunch of different, not always safe, methods of staying awake, until he finally just decided to sell his soul to a demon. Which I love the implications of this, because he didn't sell his soul to become a billionaire, he sold his soul to work forever, which means he loves his job, and I love that for him. The demon took away his capacity for fear, and he doesn't need to sleep anymore, but every time he uses the inhuman tactics, he becomes more demonic. The first version of him from the 1983 comic is pretty tame, just a guy in some pants, a sweater, and a long billowing cape. The wilder versions of him come later. In 2009's Ghost Rider Volume 6, he is pictured with a red eye, the other covered by an eye patch. His skin is deathly pale, and he is wearing a full, fab, red and black cowboy ensemble. I actually really like this one, and it's what I based my outfit on today. For Doom Patrol villains, it seems like a lot of the characters start out with an unserious, satirical, or just ridiculous premise, and then the writers take that and come up with a serious, genuine backstory to justify the choice. We saw this earlier with Beard Hunter, and we will see it again now with Codpiece. The creator of Codpiece, Rachel Pollack, was asked to do a one-shot for the Doom Patrol series, and she got creative and pulled from a hero, Green Arrow. She said during an interview with Fortress Comics that she was intrigued by the idea of Green Arrow's single quiver holding dozens of different types of arrows, and thought the absurdity of that would make a great parody villain. The adult themes in Doom Patrol then inspired the stroke of genius that was Codpiece, because that is a real accessory that has been used by men for hundreds of years for the same area as Codpiece's weapon. A modern version of a codpiece that is used nowadays would be sports protective equipment. The rest of Codpiece's outfit is pretty normal as far as villain outfits go. It's just the multi-use weapon on his lower half that is wild. The thing has lots of features. Most interesting to me is the retractable boxing gloves. Codpiece's serious backstory to justify him wearing this is one time a girl told him she didn't want to go out with him because he was short, and he is not the sharpest fork in the drawer, so he assumed she must have been talking about something on his lower half. Thank you so much to everyone that commented suggestions on part 1. I had the time of my life looking them all up. Don't forget to let me know which costume you'd wear to the Villain Met Gala. This is Juliana signing off. See you later.